So, yeah. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Pawan, and I'll be the trainer for this batch of Power BI course. And let me give a brief introduction to myself. And yeah, I have the work experience of around 5 to 6 years, almost in the BI itself. And I'm currently working in a reputed corporation which mainly deals with the analytics projects related to the production as well as the service based industries. Yeah, so that's about me. So let's just look at the course and basically the content that we will be covering over the course of almost 2 months, which will last for somewhere around 25 to 30 hours basically. So let me share my screen and please let me know once the screen is visible to you. I hope the screen is visible.
Yes.
Okay. So this course will basically start with the introduction to BI and then introduction to Power BI and how do we need to install the Power BI in the system and what are the building blocks of Power BI and what are the components of Power BI and how the overall graphical user interface of Power BI looks like. Okay, and once that is done, we will start with the workflow in Power BI, which basically starts with getting the data from different sources and transforming the data into the in-house ETL tool of Power BI, which is called as Power Query Editor. Now, in Power Query Editor, we will look into different storage modes, namely import mode, then there's a direct query mode, there's also a live connection mode. We'll look into those, and then we'll look into some of the transformation functions which are available within the Power Query Editor, which will help us clean the data. And when I say clean the data, what I mean is keeping only the required rows, required columns, okay, and also converting the data types. Let's say if something is of alpha, string data type, and if we need to convert it to a numeric data type, how we can do that. Something is of a string data type, and we have to convert it to a date data type. We'll be doing that, and then we will be looking into the clean and trim functions, okay, and how to replace the values, replace the blanks, replace the nulls, and how to handle the errors. So these things, and then we'll look into some of the concepts like pivoting, unpivoting, uh, which are helpful to again bring the data in a way we require it. Okay, and we will look into merging of columns within a table, then merging two or more tables, okay, and what is meant by append function and how can we import the data from folders into Power BI, which will be helpful in the long run, okay, and then we will look into how to create the new fields. New fields, basically the calculated fields based on existing fields. How can we create them? And for that, to do that, there are various options like creating custom columns, creating column by examples, creating conditional columns, index columns. Okay, and then we will look into how to summarize the data by using the group by clause. Let's say, for example, you have a data at the daily granular level. And what I mean by that is, let's say in an organization, you get the data on a daily basis. So in the daily basis, basically, you'll be having a date column and you'll be getting the data for each and every date. But let's say you want to summarize that data on a month basis. Okay, let's say you want the consolidated data for the month of January, and that you need to derive from the data which you have on a daily basis. Then how we can do that by using the group by function within Power Query Editor. So this we will all discuss, and this we will uh, look into how to do that in Power BI. Okay, and then we'll look into some of the important things like query folding and what are the duplicate queries, reference queries, enabling and disabling the load and report refresh. Okay, so all of these things will be covered in this get data and transform data part, okay, which is nothing but Power Query editor. Okay, and then we'll move on to the next step in the data flow within Power BI, that is creating the data model within Power BI. And to create a data model, basically, the first thing that we need is the understanding of some of the basic data warehouse concepts. So that we will discuss before moving on to create the actual data model within Power BI. And then we'll create and edit relationships between the tables. We will control the filter flow. We will create the cardinalities, namely one to many, one to one, many to many, and we will discuss also the use case scenarios where these will be applicable. Okay, and yeah, we also will be discussing about creating the bridge table in this, because bridge tables are needed in order to nullify the problems that arise with this thing, that is many to many relationship cardinalities within Power BI data model. So we will discuss that. And once the data model is done within Power BI, then we will discuss how to create the data visualizations and ultimately the reporting in Power BI desktop. Okay. And basically, we will be discussing the visuals first, because before we do the visualization, it is also important for us to understand which visuals to be used under which scenarios. Now let's say we have different visuals like bar graph, line graph, we have pie chart, donut chart, and we have map visuals. Okay, and we have scattered plots, but we need to understand in a which particular use case which particular visualization has to be used. So we will discuss that first, and then we will understand each and every individual visuals, how we can customize those visuals by making use of the format tab. Okay, and we will be ultimately discussing these different visuals: the tables, the bar charts, the clustered column chart, the stacked column chart, the matrix visual, the pie chart, donut chart, then the conditional formatting, which is very important while creating the visuals, how the conditional formatting works, and also what are the filters and the various types, what is meant by the slicer, how we can manage the interaction within the visuals. Okay, and then we'll discuss what are the bookmarks, what are the drill down and drill through functions, what are the tooltips, buttons, KPI cards, okay, waterfall chart, and even the ribbon chart. And then we also will discuss some of the custom visuals which are not existing within Power BI, but they will be imported as a third-party visuals. Because in some of the organizations, they use custom visuals on a regular basis. So how to handle them, we will discuss that as well while doing the data visualizations. Okay. And then we will move on to the most important part within Power BI Desktop, which is called as DAX, which stands for Data Analysis Expressions. Now, mainly the DAX is used to create new calculated fields within Power BI. And when I say new calculated fields, there are two types of calculated fields in Power BI Desktop. One are called calculated columns, and second thing is the measures. Okay, and within that we have the important concept called as row context and filter context. What are the row context and what is the filter context? The understanding of this particular thing, that is row context and filter context, is very very important, because if you don't understand this, you will not be able to figure out how to do the calculated columns and measures as well. Okay, so that is very important. And then we will look into the implicit and explicit measures. Okay, and then we will look into the aggregation functions, iterative functions, simple functions like sum, then average, then related, and also the iterative functions like sumx, average x, max x, min x. Okay, all those things. And then we'll look into how to create the conditional fields by using conditional statements like if function, then switch function, also the different versions of count function. Okay, then After that, we'll look into the most important function which exists within the DAX, which is called as calculate functions, which is used to calculate an expression and also apply the filter onto the same. And within the filter modifying functions, we'll discuss the functions like the filter function itself, then all selected, all except, selected value. Okay, all these functions we'll discuss. And then we'll discuss the new table generation functions. Okay, and yeah, then we'll discuss also. Yes, uh, any questions? Your voice is not audible. Okay, let me continue then. So, yeah, I was talking about these functions. Then we'll also discuss about the concatenation functions, then the time intelligence functions via which we can get the data like what was the sales previous year, what was the sales 3 months back, okay, or let's say what was the sales somewhere around 4 years back. All those things are the ones which are under time intelligence functions. Okay, and we will discuss about how to create the date dimension table, which we usually also call as calendar table. Okay, and various functions within them. Okay, and we also will discuss how to create the consolidated summary tables using summarize function within the DAX of Power BI. And then we'll discuss how to use the variables and quick measures to make our data model a bit faster. Okay. And once that is done, we'll look into the final step as far as the Power BI workflow is concerned. When your work is done in Power BI desktop, in order to share it with the business end, you have to publish that in the web-based application called as Power BI Service. Okay, so we'll look into Power BI Service and we'll look into different licenses which are available within Power BI Service, and then we'll look into how to create the workspaces, publish your work within the workspaces, the different kinds of workspaces, and how to create the dashboard. The thing is that as far as the BI is concerned, people take the terms dashboards and reports synonymously. However, as far as Power BI service is concerned, the dashboard is completely different compared to a report. So we will discuss that. What is the difference between a dashboard and a report? Okay, and then we'll discuss on to how to uh, schedule the schedule the gateways and schedule the refreshes while you are in Power BI service. Okay, and then we'll try understanding what are meant by data flows and creating mobile-based applications of Power BI. Okay, and we will look into how to create the static and dynamic row-level security uh, in Power BI service. Okay, and after that, we will look into the interview questions, and within the interview questions, we'll look into conceptual or theoretical questions, and we will also discuss the scenario-based interview questions. Okay, and all through this uh, course, we will also be creating two dashboards, end-to-end dashboards within Power BI, and which are nothing short of the Power BI project itself. Okay, so this is what the course is going to be like. Okay, so any doubts as far as this course is concerned? Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one question. Are we going to work on live project or what?
See, no live project, but I will be having, I'm having some of the data sets. And the thing is that we will be covering most of the concepts within Power BI when we work on those two data sets. So that is the thing. Yeah.
Means you are saying you are having one project and we are going to work on that.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
thing is that the uh, project in Power BI is mainly about creating the dashboard or basically report uh, while gathering the data from some existing resources. So that's what we are going to do, because the thing is that we were discussing the individual concepts without actually working on the dashboard. That doesn't make sense. So the way this course is going to go is, along the way we are going to develop the dashboard from end to end. And when I say end to end, the thing is that we will take the data from some of the data set, we will transform the data, we will do the data modeling within Power BI, and ultimately we'll create uh, the report or dashboard by using that data set. Hope that is clear.
Yes.
Anyone else has any doubt? Okay. So uh, let's start with the introduction to the business intelligence then. Okay. So just a second. Share the screen. I hope the screen is visible to you all.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Okay. So the BI development or the business intelligence as a whole can be summed up from this particular visual which you are seeing here. On the left hand side, you have a spreadsheet basically which has many fields and many records. Okay, it might be having many columns and many rows, is what I mean. And just by the look of some table like this, you won't be able to figure out what that table is trying to convey you. All you can maximum do is you can just read the names of the columns and you can try to understand what sort of data it's trying to provide you. However, if you look into the visuals on the right hand side, what do these convey is, I mean, you are basically getting the ultimate analysis of the data which is coming out of some spreadsheet like this. Like here, what it says, the YTD sales is $11.53 million dollars, and it has also gone down by this much percentage compared to earlier. Okay. And if you see here in the second visual, what are the top five products uh, based on the YTD sales? So these are the top five products based on the YTD sales. And here, if you see, this visual is trying to give you the geographical distribution of sales by different states. Now, here, bigger the bubble size, bigger will be the sales. As simple as that. So converting the data from this form to this form is called as business intelligence in broader sense. Okay. And this kind of data or this kind of visualizations, these are called as business data. Okay. Business data in the sense, the reason it's called as business data is this data or these visuals or these reports will be helpful for business end to make their decisions simple. Okay, so that's the reason it's called as business intelligence. Okay, now we need to look into how the BI happens, or basically the business intelligence operations happen uh, in various organizations. Okay, and this is basically the layout of what happens in almost each and every project related to BI operations. Okay, so first thing first, on the left hand side, what you are seeing here is the data in its raw form coming from different sources. Like it might be a relational database management system, it might be some Excel or spreadsheets, it might be some flat or text files, or it might be some data coming from some systems like, let's say, SAP system, some banking system, or anything basically. Okay. So these are the various forms of or sources of raw data. And the first thing that can be done, or that is usually done as far as BI intelligence is concerned, is bringing that data into an environment called as stage. Okay, and stage is where the ETL actually happens. ETL here stands for extract, transform, and load. Let me repeat, ETL stands for extract, transform, and load. And that is what literally happens here. It extracts the data from different sources, then transforms the data. And again, when I say transform the data, it involves various steps like keeping only the tables that we need, keeping only the columns that we need, keeping only the number of records that we need. Let's say, for example, you have the data for last 10 years coming from here, but in your dashboard, let's say if you want to show the data only for last 2 years, then here what you do while doing the ETL, you make sure that the table has only last 2 years of data. So that is what happens here. Okay. And let's say if you want to merge some tables, that also can be done here. Okay. And once the data is subjected to ETL, and if once it is in its uniform form, the way it is required for business, then it is brought into this techniques and I mean combination of techniques and also tools, which all together is called as the central repository, that is data warehouse. Now within the data warehouse, all the data related to the organization is stored. For example, it might have the data related to sales operations. It might be having the data related to marketing. It might be having the data related to human resources. It might be having the data related to the vendor management. Okay. And maybe it might be having the data related to the employees' welfare. So everything. Okay. And it is brought into data warehouse. Okay. The next thing is that based on the project or the domain that we are working on, there will be small subsets of the data which are made out of this data warehouse. These are called as data marts. Data marts, again, I'm saying these are the subsets of the data warehouse based on the domain that we are working on. Let's say, for example, this particular data mart is related to the data for sales. This particular data mart is related to data related to, let's say, the returns from the customers. This one, let's say, is related to the HR operations. Okay, so yeah, and ultimately we work on the BI tool. And for the examples of for BI tools are many, like Power BI itself is one BI tool. There's Tableau, there is ClickSense, and there are many other things. So ultimately, we get the data that we need into this BI tool, and then we go on to again transform the data in Power BI, maybe model it, and then again we ultimately create the dashboard within the BI tools. So this is how the workflow of business intelligence happens in the organizations. Any doubt with respect to this? Yes. Is it understood by everyone?
No doubts.
Okay, thanks. So moving forward. Okay. So as I was saying earlier, the data warehouse, it contains data in different forms. And again, we create the data marts out of the data that is existing within the data warehouse. Let's say the data marts for sales, marketing, the employees. Okay. So this is just the thing which describes the data warehouse. And again, the data warehouse might be having the data like metadata, summary data, raw data. Metadata is actually the information about the data which contains in the data warehouse. Summary data is again the data which is created as a summarized or consolidated tables, and the raw data is the data as it comes. Okay, so this is what it is, and then the thing is that why do we need the business intelligence? Okay, so the first and foremost thing is that Raw data, or basically the data in the spreadsheet or Excel sheet form, or even the RDBMS form, is kind of hard to read and draw the conclusions from. You can read it, however, it will be a bit harder for you to draw the conclusions from that sort of data. And hence, BI tools are used to convert that raw data into business data, or the data which is of the visual form from which you can easily draw the conclusions. What has happened previously and what you can do in order to improve the business as a whole. So that is what is called business data. Okay. And some of the sample BI tools which are predominantly used are Power BI, Tableau, there's ClickView, or it's also called as ClickSense. Then there is Alteryx, MSBI, SAP BI, there is Spotfire, there is Grafana, there's many things. However, Power BI recently has developed more demand compared to the other tools uh, due to its capabilities in handling the custom visualizations. And also, one more important thing is that Power BI, you can bring the data from more than 100 different data sources. Okay, so it has got great integration with different tools, and you have direct connections which are available so that you can bring the data from those sources to Power BI, which is a very important thing. And one more important thing is that for the organizations, Power BI is a relatively cheaper tool compared to the other things like Tableau, ClickSense, and all. Those are kind of costlier tools, and hence the organizations they also prefer Power BI for that reason. And one more reason is that nowadays most of the organizations they use uh, the Microsoft's other uh, tools also, like the Teams, the Outlook, and Power BI has got the ready-made integrations with those tools. Okay, so that is also one of the important aspect. Okay, now let's look into the Power BI. Power BI actually is not a single tool; it's actually the stack of components. The one thing is, I mean, 90, let's say 99%, or let's say maybe 95 to 99% of the work, as far as the creation of the dashboard is concerned, it happens usually offline in Power BI desktop. Okay. And then we have Power BI service. Power BI service is the cloud-based application wherein you publish your work once it's done in Power BI desktop. Then we also have Power BI mobile application. The thing about mobile application is that you use this application just to review the work created by someone else. The actual development does not happen within this. And one more thing is that, I mean, as far as my experience is concerned, the business end they usually don't prefer this. Okay, they usually prefer viewing their data within the computer systems itself, not in the mobile apps. Okay, then we have the Power BI servers. I mean, let's say if you have a server system, then in that system, the Power BI server will be, installed so that it feeds the Power BI to the rest of the systems as well. And we also have Power BI Report Builder. Now, the Power BI Report Builder is actually a tool which is used to create a thing called as paginated reports. Okay, just like SSRS. SSRS is also used to create the paginated reports. Same thing with Power BI Report Builder, and both also work in a similar way, very much similar way. Okay, so these are the different Power BI components. Okay, so yeah, as I said, 90% or maybe 95 to 99% of the work as far as creation of reports and dashboards is concerned happens within Power BI desktop. Okay, where you clean and transform, model the data, visualize and analyze the data. And ultimately, when you think that your data is ready to be shared with the business end, then you publish that data within Power BI Service, which is a cloud-based application. And not just with the business end, you can also collaborate your work with your colleagues. so that they can do their alteration in your work as well. And all of these things happens within Power BI service. And as I told earlier, Power BI mobile app is just used to review the content which is created by, which is created by Power BI desktop. Mobile application is not used to develop the model. Okay, so this is about the Power BI components. Any doubt with respect to this? Yes,
No, good. I understood.
great. So let's move on to the next thing, that is building blocks of Power BI. So these are the things which we can say are the building blocks of Power BI. Now, you can think that this is just a theoretical thing that we are discussing. However, uh, some of the students have come up with the instances where this question was also being asked as a part of their Power BI interview. So that's the reason this is also important. Now, the data set. Data sets are nothing but the files which contain the data. The data sets might be of the Excel sheets form, the data sets might be of the RDBMS form. Okay, so all those things which contain the data, they are called as data sets. The visualizations are nothing but the visual form of data, like the graphs, the bar charts, the pie charts, okay, the scatter plots, heat maps. All of those are visualizations. Okay, and then let me also talk about the tiles. Now, if you look into any visualization, basically, let me just open one of the Power BI report that we created previously. This one. I don't think we have the visuals here. Let me open another one. Yeah. Hopefully, this is visible to everyone. Is the dashboard visible to everyone? People?
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah. Now, in this report, basically, what you're seeing, in this particular page I'm talking about, what you're seeing is different visuals like the bar graph, there's a donut chart, there's a tree map, there's a line graph, and then there is one thing called as multiple row card. There are different cards. Okay. Now, all of these are different visualizations, and the space they occupy, this particular focused space, is called as one tile. Okay, each visual has a separate tile for them. Okay, so this is what is meant by the tiles. Okay, then the reports and dashboards. This whole thing, this whole file which you're seeing, which includes all the pages, these are nothing but, this whole file is called as a report. Okay, and similarly we have dashboard as well. The dashboard is a bit different compared to report when it comes to Power BI service, and we'll look into how to create the dashboard and how the dashboard looks like while using the Power BI service. But this is, these are the things that we can call the building blocks of Power BI. Hope this is understood.
Means
Any
report,
doubt? Hmm. Yeah. Go ahead.
reports means it will show in the Excel sheet and dashboard is the one, the screen which you have shown, is that the dashboard? Is
No,
this
that's
the?
not correct. Look, this whole thing is the report itself. Okay. Now, when we are discussing Power BI, right? Report, it doesn't mean Excel sheet. Excel sheet is the data. That's it. Excel sheet is not the report for us. Hope the point is clear. This whole thing, be it any kind of visual, this whole file is called as a report. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And dashboard. Let me try opening a dashboard if I have one. Let me just check. app.powerbi.com. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. I think I have the dashboard. Let me open that. Okay. So this is the thing which I open right now is called as Power BI service. Okay. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but just to show what the dashboard looks like. Okay, yeah. So you see, this is a dashboard. Okay. And the dash thing about dashboard is that it has a single page. Can you see this? There are no multiple pages in the dashboard, just like the report. Let me show you the report also in Power BI service, so then you can understand. Let me go to the workspace, and therein I have the report as well of the same thing. So now you see, I have this report, and along with this report, I have multiple pages which are listed here. Can you see this? Right? Okay. So this whole thing is called as a report. Okay. Whereas the dashboard has a single page. Okay. That's the basic difference basically. Is it understood? But right now you don't worry about the difference between the dashboard and the report. We will have an elaborate discussion about that. Okay. Don't worry about that. Hope that clears the thing.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, that is about the dashboards and the reports. Okay. Now, first of all, let me ask you: have you got the Power BI installed within your systems or not?
No.
Okay. So what you can do is, uh, in your systems, you can simply open the marketplace, which is nothing but the Microsoft Store itself, and therein you can search Power BI. Okay. And once you search for Power BI, you will have this thing which comes up as a first result, that is Power BI desktop. Okay. And in my instance, the option that it shows is open, but however, in your system, if you have not installed that, it will show the option as install. Okay. And the installation is quite simple. It's just going on, clicking on the next, 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 and finally finish. That's it. You need not, I mean, do any entering of serial number or nothing of that sort. It's a free software, and you can just install it within 3 4 clicks. And let's say if you have any broadband connection, it'll just take somewhere around 5 minutes maximum for it to get installed in your system. Hope I'm clear on that.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, this is how you need to install Power BI in your systems. And let's say once you're
So,
installed,
so can you say the installation process for the Mac OS?
it's not available for macOS. Sorry about that, but yeah.
Or then how can like currently I'm using Mac? How there is any alternative for that?
Uh, I myself have not installed it in macOS, but there might be some third-party applications, but I'm not sure how they work, to be frank. Because as
Okay.
far as I know, Power BI, they themselves have not released any version which is Mac OS compatible. Maybe what you can do is you can, I mean, is there a way to install the Windows kind of OS within Mac? That way you can install Power BI, or I'm not sure how, what is the other way, but
Okay, okay. I'll search in Google.
yeah, okay. So yeah, that's about the Power BI desktop installation. And then we'll look into the basic graphical user interface of Power BI. Let me just close this report and let me show you how we open the Power BI basically. So all you need to do is double click on the Power BI icon. Okay, so it'll be somewhere here, Microsoft Power BI, yeah, Power BI desktop. Okay, once you install it, you will see that in your start panel. Okay, just click on that. The new instance of Power BI desktop will open. Okay, and just click on the blank report so that you will be taken to this particular view of Power BI. Okay, now the Power BI mainly has three views. Okay, there's also one more view that they have introduced recently, but mainly speaking, it has three views which you will make use of on a daily basis if you're working on a Power BI related project. One is called the visual view or the report view, where you can see the visuals. The second thing is table view, where you can see the tables. Right now, you are not seeing any because right now we have not loaded any table within this. And the third view is where you can see the data model. So these are the three basic views. Now let me also open some report so that you can see what those uh, views will actually look like if you have the data within Power BI. Okay. So right now, if you see, this is nothing but the visual views or the report view. We are in the report view. And if you go to the table view, basically what you'll be able to see is the different tables, okay, that are there in your data. Okay. So these are the tables that are there in the data. Okay. And then there's one more view which is called as model view, which will show you the data model, or basically the information on how the various tables are connected to each other. What is the filter flow direction? What is the cardinality of the relationships that is happening here between the tables? So this is what the data model view is. Okay. Right now, you guys don't worry about this. We will cover each and all of this step by step. Okay, first we'll bring the data in Power BI and then we'll look into how to do the rest of the things. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to give you the basic know-how of what the Power BI desktop looks like or what are the different views within the Power BI desktop. Hope this is clear. Any doubts within this? No doubts? Okay, fine. And before we start the course, one more important thing to be noted is that, see, uh, I'm not sure whether you people have used the Power BI previously or not, but the thing about every new tool that you'll be learning is that in the initial phase, it will always feel overwhelming looking at the various options that we have here within Power BI. Okay, but don't worry about that. As and when you start learning it on regular basis, you will get familiarized with all of this stuff. Okay, so right now it might feel like some complex view consisting of so many options. But don't worry about that. You will gradually get accustomed to this within no time. I'm 100% sure of that. Okay. And yeah, as far
Okay.
as the
Uh,
course is, yes,
yeah, can you please repeat the process of installation of Power BI?
yeah, sure. Just a second. All you need to do is go to the Microsoft Store, okay, and then in the search bar, you can search the Power BI, okay, and once that is done, it will appear as the first result, and the name is Power BI Desktop, okay, and in my case, it shows open, but in your case, it will show install or maybe free, like this in case. Let's say I'll click on this. So just click on get so that it will be installed like this. It will take some time based on the internet speed that you have, okay? And then it will simply download and install, as simple as that, okay? So you see the installation happening, right? So I'll just cancel it. But yeah, this is how the Power BI will be installed as well. Is it clear?
Yes, thank
So one more doubt. Is there any prerequisites that we need to know before that? I know only basic SQL command, a little PL
Come again. I mean, prerequisite to learn Power BI.
Yes.
Okay. See, if you know the data on in basic terms, so that is more than sufficient. And as you say, you know SQ basics of SQL, then it's more than enough to learn Power BI. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Sure. Anything else?
yeah, I'm
Okay.
good. And
Yeah. Please go ahead. Someone had some question. Okay. And let me tell you one more thing about the course. Along this course, I mean, it will be like we will be working in Power BI. Okay. I'll be sharing you the data set. Along with that, I'll be sharing you the classwork, that is what I did in the class in Power BI, and you can repeat that yourself in your systems. Then, along with that, I'll also provide you the assignment files as well. Okay. And the result of assignment file as well. I mean, in case you get confused, you can always look into the result assignment file so that you can know how we actually got there. Okay. So that will be happening on the regular basis. Okay. So we'll work in the class. You can work the classwork yourself, and you also will be having assignment after each and every class. So this is how it will go on. And along the course, we will be developing the Power BI dashboards using some data sets that we have in here. Okay, so this is how the course will uh, go on. Okay,
Sir,
any,
we will
any
be
doubts?
having classes like Monday to Friday, every day, 7
Yes,
a.m. 8 a.m.
Monday to Friday, every day, 7 a.m. No weekend classes,
Okay,
and the overall number of classes that will be needed for me to cover the Power BI as a whole is somewhere around 25 to 30 classes. So usually the
more
span,
than a month.
yeah, the usually the span will be almost till 45 days. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. And sir, how do we pay the fee?
That you need to discuss with Tanvir.
sir, I
Okay.
am new to data engineering, data side. Uh,
Okay.
what we learn after the Power BI? Should we directly apply for interviews? Anything to learn
First, let me
more?
ask you, when you say you are a data engineer, I mean, you are the one who, I mean, are you the data working on the database management system? I mean, database,
No,
or
I'm new
you
to
are
that.
actually creating the views?
Actually, I worked as a Java developer. I don't have much idea on data. So I know only basic SQL commands to create tables and
Uh-huh.
write some join commands to retrieve the data. That's my
That's
current
enough.
case.
Hmm. Okay.
Like now I'm trying to learn some Power BI and some data set tools. Like
Mhm.
what should we learn after Power BI? Like what is the scope after that? I'm asking. I don't
See,
know.
first of all, my question is that you want to, I mean, you want to work as a data engineer or a BI developer, or there's one more thing, data analysis. So, what do you want to get into? That's
I want to actually become data analyst.
data analyst. So,
Yeah.
let's say if you want to be a data analyst, then the thing is that you should have the knowledge of SQL, a bit of ETL, as well as what happens in the front end, which is the BI tool. Okay, so in that
Okay.
case, you need SQL and some other ETL tools knowledge along with that, and yeah, you need Power BI or some BI tool knowledge as well. Only then you will be a data analyst, because the data analyst, what usually does is he will be in constant touch with the business end. He will be gathering their requirements, and he will be conveying the developers the requirements on what they need to do on their end, like what the ETL team does, I mean, needs to do from the back end, what the Power BI developer needs to do on the front end tool Power BI. Yeah. So that is what the thing is.
So is it the like same similar structure like web development, a front end developer, back end developer? Is the similar stack divided in the data engineering even?
Kind of similar. Okay. But here the thing is that data
Okay.
engineer actually, yeah, we can say he's a back end developer, but also there will be some people who will be maintaining the database itself. Okay, so those are also the backend engineers. Data engineer is also kind of a backend engineer, but yeah, he usually creates the views and also sometimes gets involved with getting the data into the Power BI or any tools that you're using. Yeah, so that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I got a little idea. Thank you.
Good
Anything else,
evening.
people? Yeah.
Hello. My name is Victor. Please, I heard everything you said.
Mhm.
Monday to Friday, same time, like this.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good. My question is, what happened after the class? Do you have like a interview prep for us? And what is the next step after the class? That is
I
my
mean, once the
question.
course completes, right?
I didn't get that. Come again.
I mean, you're asking what happens after the completion of course, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes. What is the next
Okay.
step?
See, as the part of course, okay, once this course completes, I will also be discussing the interview questions, and the interview questions I'll be discussing will be conceptual questions, theoretical questions, as well as scenario based questions which they usually ask and
Okay.
expect from a Power BI developer. So that is what we'll be doing. Yes.
Okay. In respect to resume, are you going to give us like
I'll
a
be sharing
sample?
you the yes. I'll be sharing you how to build the Power BI resume. That's for sure, and
Okay,
we'll share the sample BI resume as well. Yeah.
yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, people? Okay, fine then. I think we can stop now. I'll just stop the recording.